Well, hello all my beautiful sewing friends. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you something very fun and very exciting. So I am going to be sewing in my brand new sewing room for the very first time with a brand new fabric that I've never sewn with before. So although I am not new to 100% polyester fabrics, I am very much new to fortuny preset pleated fabrics. So I've never sewn with any type of accordion or, fortuny fabrics that are set. So I'm very excited to be sharing this with you. And I thought that I would take you along the ride. So I am doing this for the hashtag Sew Maxi for Mother's Day challenge that I'm hosting with the beautiful Crystal of Crystal Sews and Stuff. And I decided to make this pattern here, which is the new Look N6605. Now I chose this pattern for a number of reasons, particularly because of the type of fabric that I'm working with. And also this is a TNT pattern of mine. So for the maxi dress challenge, I do need to have a maxi length garment. So I am going to be doing view B here, but I am going to be making many alterations to the pattern itself so that I can use this fabric with this pattern. So I wanted something very easy and very basic. And since my pattern already has pleats in it, I am not going to be putting the pleats that you see here on the pattern. So I am going to take the base or the foundation of this pattern and I'm going to omit the pleats and the dart. There's a dart on the back of the pattern. And so I'm going to omit those things, and then I am going to go ahead and attach, after I cut out the pattern pieces, I'm going to attach it to a waistband. And the waistband, I'm going to create it out of a polyester fabric as well, but it won't be the preset pleated fabric because I think it'll be really messy if I do that. So here is the fabric here. This is the beautiful preset pleated fabric. It is such a beautiful, beautiful color. It's more of like a mauve color or a muted purple, if you will. It's such a beautiful, beautiful fabric. And like I said, it is polyester fabric and it falls under the silky type fabric category. Now the preset pleats are actually on the cross grain of the fabric, and so I will have to make sure that when I put my fabric down, if I want them to be going down the length of the body, I have to account for that. So I had to go back to the store and get more fabric to make sure that I had enough. Now for the waistband of the fabric, I chose this beautiful fabric here. Now this fabric is from the same collection. This is from the spring collection, this year spring collection at Joann, so 2022 spring collection. And this is also a 100% polyester fabric. It does have a little bit of stretch on the cross grain, and so I have to make sure that I am careful with that. So this will be an elasticated waistband. So again, I decided to go with this pattern because I feel like it's very basic and it's a pattern that I feel like would look really good with this style of print. As you can see with these box pleats here, it looks really great. And I've made this pattern before. I'll go ahead and put a picture here so you can see what it looks like. And I really like it. And I made view C last time, and I really like the pattern. It sews up really well, really easy and fun. One of the more popular ways to sew fabrics like this is to take an elastic waistband and gather your skirt, and you attach the elastic waistband to the skirt and your elastic will be exposed. I'll show you some images here. I didn't really want to do it that way. I don't really like exposed elastics very much. And so this is one of the reasons why I chose this pattern as well. You can also use like a gross grain ribbon. for your waistband as well, and then use snaps to close in the back, or there's just so many different creative ways that you can create a waistband for fabrics like this without actually using the same fabric. So yeah, I will make sure that I put tips throughout the video. So if you are interested to use this fabric, you can look at those tips and see some, tips and tricks on what you can do to create a really beautiful skirt out of fabrics such as this. Okay, so I am back, and I just wanted to share with you how I laid my pattern out on my fabric. So with this fabric, because you don't want to pull the pleats out, not that you can pull the pleats out very easily because they are pressed in there. However, you don't want to stretch the fabric as you're cutting it, because you want to make sure that your skirt is as close to the pattern as possible, the design of the pattern. So I would suggest putting some pattern weights down after you put your pattern on your fold, because my pattern calls for the pattern to be put on the fold. And so after you place your pattern on the fold, make sure you go ahead and you put your pattern weights down so that your fabric and your pattern won't move as you're cutting it. Okay, so now I have my pattern weights down here, and I didn't place them in any particular order, or I didn't balance them out or anything. I just put them in any points where I felt like was going to be necessary. So up at the corner and in the center there, and then at the bottom corner as well, and along the fold line, because I don't want that line to move. So yeah, that's how I did that. And my pattern weights are very weighted, and I received these. I purchased these off of Bianca's shop. She is an Instagram sewist and influencer, and her shop is called Thanks I Made Them, and I will put her link in the description box below so you can go over and check out those beautiful pattern weights. Like I said, they're very weighted, and they are really, really handy for projects like this. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out, and I'm going to get to work. Okay, so I know I said that I was going to omit the pleat pattern or the markings on the pattern for pleats, but I decided to change my mind, and we are allowed to do that. When we are sewing, we can change our minds. So that's what I have done, and I decided to include the markings for the pleats, and instead I'm just going to gather the fullness of that in my skirt. And I put 2 rows of gathering stitches here, and I'm just going to take 2 tails of thread, and I'm just going to gather in between those 2 points, which is the first line for the pleat and the last line for the pleat. And I'm just going to go ahead and gather and have some extra fullness here in the front of my skirt. And I am going to see what that looks like. If I don't like it, then I can always change course and omit that extra fabric like I originally planned. But I think it's going to turn out lovely. So that's what I'm going to do. And for the back of the pattern, I'm going to do the same. The back of the pattern have 2 darts back there. I'm just going to gather those darts in as well. So I think having that extra, those extra gathers in the front is going to be so cute. Okay, so now that I have my fabric gathered, I need to press my seams. Now this pattern calls for pockets, but I decided to omit the pockets because I didn't want to, you know, run the risk of making a mistake, especially because this is my first time working with this fabric. So I wanted to get a feel of the fabric before I decided to do anything risque. So I am going to go ahead and press these seams open. Now I'm going to use my pressing cloth to do that since this is a silky fabric, and I'm going to set my iron to a low setting or to the silk or wool setting, and that should take care of that. So I just want to press these seams here so that they are flat. They look really good. You can't even see the stitches, and I am happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and press those open and trim those seams back, and yeah. And I'm going to use my overlocker or my serger to finish the ends. To finish off the edge of the skirt, I decided to go with the encased elastic waistband. I just think that this will hold up better over time. So I went back to my local Joann's store and I went to the same section that I saw this beautiful pleated skirt material. And I also saw this material here, which is this beautiful 100% polyester orchid fabric. And it has a little bit of stretch on the cross grain, so I had to take that into account as I was cutting out the pattern for this. Now, after I went ahead and gathered all my front skirt together, because remember I omitted the pleats in the front, so I had to account for that, and I did that by gathering the skirt pieces in the front. So I do have more gathering in the front than I do in the back. In the back, I'm just really easing the fabric in. And in the front, you do have some gathers there. So after I did all that, I attached the waistband to the skirt at the edge, and then I took it to my sewing machine and I stitched it all in place. As you can see here, I'm just going around making sure that the waistband and the skirt is attached at the edge, and I just went around and I stitched it all in place. And after I stitched this all in place, I finished off the edge by trimming back the seam a little bit, and after trimming the seam, I actually took it to my serger and I gave it a nice clean finish. And you'll see that here later on in the video. I did give it a really great finish there. So yeah, so that's basically what I did to finish off the edge of the skirt. I really like this fabric, and I'm glad that it was in this same collection because the colors match perfectly. Okay, everyone, so it's looking very good. I am very pleased with this so far. For this being my first time sewing with this type of fabric, I'm really pleased. I really wish now that this was a flat front waistband because it looks so clean and so beautiful. Yeah, it's such a beautiful, beautiful make. All right, so I need to clean up the insides. I already pressed the waistband in the front. I really like the gathers here, the extra fullness in this in the front. So I'm really glad that I made that decision. So really, really cute. And I'm going to go ahead and cut back some of this seam allowance. And then after I cut back some of this seam allowance, I'm going to go ahead and serge that, and the skirt will be done. I'm going to look online and see if this type of fabric is one that don't fray, and if I can leave the hem like this. I haven't seen much fraying, so I'm hoping that I can actually let it stay like that. So I'll see what I come up with in my research, and then I will decide what I'm going to do with the hem. But this is pretty much done. I just need to put the elastic in and finish the raw edges here. So the elastic band here is 1.5 inches wide. So it's a really nice wide elastic band. So I went ahead and I put that through the channel. And after I inserted the elastic band inside the channel, I went ahead and I stitched this opening here closed. So I hand stitched that closed, and then that was basically it. I am finished with this skirt. I really love the way that it turned out. It's really fun and I can't wait to wear it. So I will give a full review of this skirt, so stay tuned for that. That will be coming up. So thank you all for stopping by and watching today's channel. I hope that you all had a happy and fun time watching today's video and the process of me making this skirt. I hope you all have a happy and blessed sewing week. Until next time, stay creative, everyone. Bye.